morning and welcome to Morning Movie News. The first of the 3 stories I'll be covering in this episode broke late last night, and it's an interesting one. Glenn Close, it was announced, has joined the cast of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, where she'll play a senior member of the Nova Corps. Which was funny because it instantly reminded me of the female leader of the Space Corps that guards Stitch and Lilo and Stitch, and I think that's an interesting go-to these days in film, that they're like, oh, let's bring in a mature actress to kind of give some gravitas to this. And I feel that's kind of like what Marvel is doing here with this casting. And it's not, this reminds me not of Anthony Hopkins as Odin, which I thought was great. I mean, who else is going to play Odin? But this seems to veer more towards the recent casting of Robert Redford in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And I don't like it because it reminds me of stunt casting. Granted, these are 2 great actresses, Glenn Close, Robert Redford, iconic. But I hope Marvel's not just bringing them in for, as I said, stunt casting and to try and entice older viewers to maybe check out these more satellite Marvel films. You know, they're at the core Avengers and, you know, Iron Man films that are really the spine of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because, like, for instance, take the recent Star Trek Into Darkness. I know a lot of people really enjoyed that film, but, you know, Peter Weller, I mean, come on. You know, they brought the original RoboCop in, and the guy had, like, nothing to do. His character wasn't well developed, and it was really just like, hey, look, Peter Weller's here. It's another name for us to kind of add to the legitimacy of this film, and I don't think that's worth it. You know, we've been talking about X-Men Days of Future Past having way too many characters, and I think every movie needs to be concerned about that. You focus on doing a few well, rather than, you know, like, this isn't like trading cards, see how many you can get. Also, the other thing is that bringing in these older actors, I mean, they're new to this kind of blockbuster comic book filmmaking world, because Robert Redford, I think that Marvel was able to squash it pretty fast, but he gave away a huge spoiler about his character in an interview like a few weeks ago. I'm not going to give it away here because, you know, I'm more disciplined than Robert Redford. But, you know, especially as they try and keep these secrets in these films, it's so important that the actors toe the line and not give anything away. And I think Robert Redford didn't mean anything by it, and it was innocent, but he's just not used to this kind of, you know, filmmaking and publicity. So I'm sure Glenn Close can keep a pretty good secret, though. So we'll see. But again, I really hope she has something to do, and Glenn Close just isn't going to sit at some giant table and look cool for a few seconds with like a weird wig on. But, you know, maybe you'll see her in the trailer, which leads me to the second story of today. Some of you asked me about it yesterday in the comments, and that is the announcement that the Theater Association is going to insist that trailers be shortened. Right now they can go up to 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the theater, and now they want to bring them down to 2 minutes. So the debate is that the Theater Association is like, we're doing this for you. A lot of you complain that there's too much plot given away in the trailer, so with just 2 minutes, it's going to be much better for you and you're going to have a better time. But detractors are counter-arguing that the Theater Association either wants to squeeze in more trailers or more ads, so they want to bring the time down on the pre-show before a movie. That would be unfortunate if they replaced it with ads. Here's my feeling on it. I want shortened trailers because it takes way too long for a movie to start. First of all, I don't need to see trailers as much in theaters anymore because I've seen them all on the internet multiple times. I mean, I cover them, a lot of people cover them. I enjoy watching them on the internet. So it's really just like watching repeats at this point. I mean, gone are the days when you'll sit there and be like, oh, I can't believe it, this trailer, I'm finally going to see it. I mean, occasionally I have seen a few trailers that look better on the big screen than the small screen, but that's very rare. And also, I do agree they give away a little too much in trailers these days. However, I have to say that I was watching How to Marry a Millionaire last night, and I watched the trailer afterwards on the extras, and they give away a lot. They've been giving away a ton of the movie for decades, since the beginning of the trailer, pretty much. So I don't think that's the problem. But if they just replace the shortened trailer time with more ads, those really annoying ads, I'm going to be upset. Because, again, I just want this movie to start 15 minutes. I think 10-15 minutes is enough of a pre-show. But at this point, I've finished all my snacks before the movie even starts, or the hot food I get when I get that gets cold, and it's just becoming really frustrating. So that's the second story. The third story of the day is my favorite. I don't know if anyone watched this. A lot of people did. On Sunday, Animal Planet ran like a sequel to a fake documentary they had from last year on mermaids. And so basically, you know, I saw the story in Entertainment Weekly, and the reporter there said that it was amusing that Animal Planet, a channel all about nature, has its biggest ratings of a fake documentary about a fake animal, mermaids, about whether or not they really existed. So 3.6 million people tuned into this. That's more than watched HBO's Behind the Candelabra, which was around 2.4, 2.6 million. And I just think that's fascinating. And you can bet that some development executive at Hollywood has seen this story and is like, because you might have heard the story, but after the success of Pirates 4, there was some talk that they wanted to make a reimagining of The Little Mermaid, but make it darker, the dark fairy tale. And when I heard that news, I thought that was great news, because I really loved the mermaids in Pirates 4. I thought it was a really great way to think outside the box, to make them, more like sharks or piranhas, and I thought that was really cool and a great way to go with it. And if you see some of the visuals for this Animal Planet special, they look cool too. So I'm all in favor of a dark mermaid movie. So where is it, Hollywood? And if you've watched that Animal Planet documentary, write down below what you thought of it. If you knew it was fake when you were watching it, or if you came to suspect it partially the way through, or if you still believe it's true, and the people saying that it's fake, it's just a conspiracy theory. So those are the 3 stories of the morning, but also I have some questions I want to answer from yesterday's comments. The first, someone asked me, with After Earth coming out on Friday, what do I think of Jaden Smith and his future in Hollywood? The reason I picked this question is because I find Jaden Smith fascinating. I've really been keeping an eye on him. I think that his father has done him such a service in launching his career. Really well done. Great projects they've chosen. I saw him in The Pursuit of Happiness. I thought he did a really nice, natural job, but at that point he was so young, I just attribute it to his relationship with his father just kind of being played out for the cameras. But then when he came, he was not particularly good in the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still, but who was? But then he did Karate Kid, which I really, really enjoyed. I thought that was a great reimagining it. I love it when Hollywood does a remake that's warranted, where they do something so different that it's worth your time. So I think that Jaden Smith was great in The Karate Kid. Loved the work that he did there, and I've been very excited to see him continue. Then I saw the trailer for After Earth, and I was like, wow, did he grow up? He looks so much older. It's crazy. And he looks kind of like Will Smith, but not so much that it keeps him from being his own actor. I don't know how After Earth is going to do. I'm a little nervous about it. I think it's never a good idea to release a trailer that has almost no talking in it, because I think it makes the audience concerned that it's not going to have any talking. It's going to be kind of like some sci-fi nature documentary, and maybe it doesn't have any talking. We'll find out tomorrow. But I'm rooting for Jaden Smith. I'd like to see him next maybe break away from his father, at least on screen, and act in another film by himself. Maybe like with Jackie Chan, the way he did it in The Karate Kid. I've been saying I feel that Jaden Smith would be an excellent Miles Morales for Sony if they wanted to make something based on the Ultimate Spider-Man comic, the new one. But I really like Jaden Smith a lot. I think he's very appealing. Just like his father, I think both of them come across really well. However, if you want to not like Jaden Smith or Will Smith, go pick up this week's double issue from New York Magazine, where there's an interview with the two of them, and I was really excited to read it, and they just came off really badly. They seem like they're not Scientologists, yay, but the bad news is that they seem like they've kind of started their own cult. It was just, I hope they have a publicist, but maybe not, because I don't know why that publicist didn't read that article or was sitting in the room and was like, let's take 5 so I can talk to my clients. All right, the second question I'm going to answer, the last question for this episode today, is someone said, what do I think of Seth MacFarlane dropping out of the Oscars for a second time, and who do I think should host in his place since he's not going to do it? First, let me say I think it was a huge mistake for him to drop out. He took a lot of heat from people about his jokes and his songs about breasts, which actually, by the way, I didn't mind, because it's true. I think there's a kind of an unfairness in female versus male nudity in films. I think a lot of actresses use that nudity to get attention for themselves or get attention for their roles. I think it's usually not warranted or artistic. I think it's a gimmick. Kate Winslet's pretty much built her entire career on willing to be naked. And so I kind of was glad he called people out on that. And I thought Seth MacFarlane, by the way, did a fantastic job. So I think that he shouldn't have let his detractors win like that. Ricky Gervais came back, and I was upset that Ricky Gervais kind of toned down what he did. If you're going to do something, stand by it. So I would have liked to have seen Seth MacFarlane come back and just do an even better, more awesome job. Just real quick, I loved the flight with sock puppets joke. That was like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Fantastic. So I'm disappointed again that he dropped out, and I think that he was just nervous about getting the bad publicity, because he said, oh, like, I think he said something like, women and critics can breathe a sigh of relief because I'm not going to come back. So if he's not going to do it, who do I think should come back? I would really maybe like to see Eddie Murphy. I was so excited when he was going to potentially do it before, but then he dropped out in a misguided show of support for Brett Ratner, I felt. So I would love to see Eddie Murphy come back. I think it would be fantastic. It would be nice to have, Whoopi Goldberg's hosted the Oscars, but, a little diversity would be cool. And I also think maybe Alec Baldwin would be great, but by himself. No Alec Baldwin, Steve Martin team up. I just want plain, uncut, pure Alec Baldwin. He's got nothing to do because 30 Rock's been canceled. I'd love to see him host the Oscars. But whoever it is, I was thinking Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, but I think they should stay with the Globes. I think the Oscars are a tricky gig because there's such history behind them that you really have to do a balance between humor and, kind of like the respect that the awards show deserves. And for some reason, I thought Seth MacFarlane pulled that off because he kind of has like a Rat Pack kind of feel to his work and with the singing and everything that he likes to do. So I thought that worked. I thought he did that beautifully. And he's been my favorite actually since Billy Crystal. So those are the 3 stories of the day. Those are my answers to your 2 questions. Write down below what you'd like to see covered tomorrow on Friday. And if you have any questions for me that you'd like to see answered. Thanks for watching and check out these other episodes. Bye.